Hello and welcome to episode 13. Wait, oh my god. Ah, ah. That was a complete mistake. Scrap that. Hello, welcome to episode 12. Fucking, you know what? Fuck it. Don't scrap anything. Just leave it all in. Fuck it.
Ah, fucking shit, a jelly bean. Habanero.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them.
Every bucket!
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, sorry, left or right? Left? Okay.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Left or forward?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of... The bucket did not react, except perhaps a tiny glow of warmth. Subtle, yes, but an unmistakable spark from somewhere deep within. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
This is true. This is very true. How would I know?
2845.
Okay. Maybe one of these pictures? What does that say? Sewage Lilies by Claude Money. Carte Blanche et Mont
But it
Blanc.
turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo!
Yay! Oh, I bet there's a fucking book here I can click on. Anyway, left it is. I gotta be honest with you, I've already gone left, but I have an idea of something to do. Ow.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Uh-oh. I made an oopsie.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
You shut the
To be
fuck up.
sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Yeah. It really was. There's the bucket, an office chair.
Can you
There's the
see how
bucket.
arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it
Bucket
for
with
his
two
own?
handles,
Can you see the
25
hubris
buckets.
that blinded him?
This is a picture of
Can you see
25
that the bucket
buckets.
is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Wooden bucket, the Inferno bucket. We got the stress bucket, an analogy. Gambor.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one.
I know.
It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
I know. I know. I know all too well. I want to fall in that hole.
But there is something we can do.
There
Something
is.
we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed.
I was gonna quit to the menu, cause fuck letting Stanley die. Epilogue?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Wait, what did that text say just now?
Stanley
One moment. I gotta go to fucking, what is it? This real quick? I gotta look at something. I just saw some text. Oh, the bucket did not react, except perhaps a tiny warmth of glow.
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee
Yeah.
number 427. Employee number
No,
427's
there are
job
some
was
endings
simple.
I've never
He
gotten.
sat at his
Lucky.
desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
I
This
know
is
there's
what
an ending I
employee
didn't get.
427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this
I can
job.
only think of one.
And Stanley was happy.
Am I really almost done with this game? That's sad.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
I'm gonna click to skip.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he... What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Okay, we're gonna go to the one ending I know I didn't do.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
The one ending I know I didn't do.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. breath. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet. Simply
I
because
must
I
enter the
haven't
broom
come
closet
into a
every time.
staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
My God, we're almost done with Stanley Parable. I'm so sad. If I'm truly almost done, that means I can start watching videos of other people playing. Then, when I see them start
Stanley
getting
and
to
the
new
bucket
stuff I've
walked
never
straight ahead
seen,
through the
I
large
can
door
stop
that
and be
read,
like, I have new
Mind
content.
Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
All right. We're on a mission. I burped. I'm sorry.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very
We're
nearly
turning
burst
those
into
controls
tears
back
as Stanley
on.
cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
I haven't gone down.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Lucky Sticks, explain
No!
yourself.
He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except...
You can fall down
the
in that room? Okay, I didn't know you could fall down
But
in that
here
room.
was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle
I gotta
the
listen to
controls
this
for
talk,
good.
'cause I accidentally
Two
skipped.
best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Nice. All right.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Oh, no.
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Wah! Nice.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
Duck.
Of all the possible paths
Wait,
his
that's a
life
goose.
could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley
Duck.
was happy.
Duck. Okay, I gotta go back to that room because apparently I can fall down in it.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was.
All right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the... And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I got you. You all thought I was going the wrong way.
Here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh, after this, there is something else I need to do with the... before we do the epilogue.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control
Okay, how do you
Facility.
fall? How do you fall here? I need you to tell me how to fall.
On an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Oh, there we go.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. Ooh. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home.
This is good.
In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
It's so dark. I can't see. Where the heck am I?
Wait a minute.
Okay, I gotta go do something. Wait. I gotta go grab my bucket. I'll be back.
Finally, yes, the bucket. Yes, 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 I love that bucket.
Hey Stanley, it's me. Just calling to let you know that you left your bucket at home. Silly. It's okay. I'm off to pick up groceries soon, so I could swing by your work and drop the bucket off at... Oh, wait a minute. This isn't your bucket. Wait, whose bucket is this? Well, if it doesn't belong to anyone else, I guess I could just, keep it. Yeah, I'd really like to hang out with this bucket for a while.
No. No.
Oh, sorry, what was I saying?
No.
Oh, yeah, have a nice day at work. I'll be here at home with my bucket.
No.
Bye, Stanley.
No. That bucket is also my bucket. Ah! They're both mine. Anyway, let's quit to the main menu. But, little did you know I'm actually quitting to the desktop! Come on. There we go. Oh, okay, it's time for the epilogue. Here we go. Many, many years later. Oh my god. I'm back. I've been wandering here for ages. Yes. I must rest for the night. It's been so long. Is there something over there? No, it's just my imagination. The moon is beautiful tonight. I've been walking towards the sun every time. Hoping. Praying. I did it. I found it. I finally found it. It's the memory zone. It's still here. Oh my god. Could it be? There's a generator here. Is he here? Hello? Hello? I'm so lonely. I didn't mean to skip. What is this? Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fanbase. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, you get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines give you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. Welcome. No, that hole was great! Oh, a cat dog was born. At least that happened. It's here.
Jim.
It knows my name.
Jim.
They kept calling me Stanley.
Jim.
I am Jim. I am Jim.
Jim. Jim.
Ah! Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We thought we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Get on the green? Oh my god. My name is Jim. They keep calling me Stanley.
Jim.
I am Jim! I have always been Jim. There has never been any other name that I have gone by.
Jim.
I am Jim. Even the bucket called me Stanley. Did they not know? I am Jim. I am Jim. 26 out of 6. Thank you for for enjoying the new content. Hello again. It's him. It's nice to see you. My friend. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. I know. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together we're going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. It's either me or the explosion! Stanley Parable 3. It's either me or the explosion. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content, recycled again and again and again, with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Let's do it. Good. Then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see? I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're gonna keep this train rolling. Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself. Forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. In 1 minute. I will click confirm and it will be 9 p.m.
2 hours later.
Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. That's where I would put it. But for you guys, right there. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable 3! It's either me or the explosion.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wow, what a wacky ending! Anyway, let's keep playing the game! Wowee, this is a bucket!
One man, one bucket.
One chance to seize their destiny together.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
We get to go through this again, but I get to do things differently. Back to the beginning. Yes. More jumps. But this time, I'll have a fucking
Hello,
brain.
and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Why do I have a bucket? Why do I have a bucket? Why do I have a
Wait, Stanley. I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my
Wait a minute!
sequel.
We have more!
How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the
We have more!
sequel?
There's more!
How do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all. Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the
Holy
sequel?
shit.
I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
It's out of
All right.
jumps!
All right, let's see.
No!
It's the jump circle?
Okay, but no, I'm still out of jumps. The jump circle. Oh, I'm out of jumps, you freaking. Ah!
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already?
Yes.
Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting?
Oh,
Did they
yes.
fulfill on the promise of everything that a
Yes.
sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
Yes. You've done wonderful.
Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly.
Yes.
Yes. You carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish.
You did.
The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it. I win. I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers.
Yes.
It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
Alright, this ending is gonna be a lot better. This is the ending. He's saying, alright, this ending is gonna be better. I should have made that more clear. You click the subscribe if you like the video.